Johnson's farm. Today we are going to be talking all things chickens. These are my chicken coops out here at the farm, which isn't like you would have if you had them in your home. But today I'm going to give you several keys for things you need to keep in mind when you're arranging your chicken operation, be it in your backyard or your small farm. The first thing we're going to talk about is balancing carbon and nitrogen. Keeping carbon and nitrogen in balance is the secret to keeping a smell-free coop. What is up with her? Out here at the farm, I use chicken tractors that have an open bottom, and I move them from time to time. Like today, we're going to move them onto fresh ground. If you can see, there's straw here on the ground currently. It's because I was unable to move them recently, and there was just too much chicken poop. It was starting to smell, so I just put a layer of straw. So I was adding carbon into the nitrogen that is the chicken waste. As long as you keep it balanced, you're going to have a great chicken coop, and not only that, you'll end up with great compost. If you're keeping chickens in a backyard, or you have to, for whatever reason, keep them in a fixed coop, then what you're going to want to do is keep wood chips or straw or whatever carbon source. You want to keep it deep so that all the chicken waste just composts down into that carbon source, whatever it is that you use. And from time to time, what you're going to have to do is scrape all that out and put fresh carbon in. So whichever way you do it, whether you move around chicken coops onto fresh ground or you do the deep bedding system in a fixed coop, either way, make sure they are wearing what Joel Salatin calls the carbonaceous diaper. Another thing you need to be aware of if you're going to keep chickens is that everybody likes to eat chicken. It isn't just you. Every creature wants to eat your chickens, including your family pet. So you have to have absolutely relentless predator control. This means making the latches hard to get into. This means not using chicken wire. Chicken wire is designed to keep chickens in. It's not designed to keep anything out. You need to use 1/2 or 1/4 inch hardware cloth. And then here at the farm, I also use, this is Premier One electric fencing, and I keep it on a solar charger. So my chickens are protected overhead from aerial predators. We have a real problem with hawks here. They're protected all the way around with hardware cloth, and then around all of the coops together, I've got electric fence all around them. So since I started going to these lengths, I stopped losing birds to predators. Today, I am moving all 3 of these chicken coops up onto fresh ground. Now, the way my farm is, there's a creek back there, and then it kind of goes at a slight incline up to the next property. So on this end of the property, the ground tends to stay a little wet, and that's why, as long as the coops have been over here, the ground is kind of muddy, and so it gets kind of smelly, and so I've had to add the straw. Today, my goal is to move them far enough up to where the ground starts to incline, so they'll be on drier ground, because we're supposed to have a significant chance of rain 5 out of the next 7 days. So I would like them to be out of the mud, which would be great. So again, this isn't what you would do if you had chickens at home, but this is my chicken operation out here. So my first step is I need to take this electric fence down. Then I will attach a tow strap to the tractor and pull each coop, and then I'll put the electric fence back, refresh everybody's food and water, and we'll be good to go. So come along with me. Next, I want to show you the magic of the roll-out nesting box. So I have a broody hen in this one, so she's holding all the eggs up there. But normally how this works is all of these eggs roll out to this outdoor area, and you just pick them up. And still, even though I'm having to push her out of there, I'm able to gather the eggs without going inside the coop. Here we see a perfect example of why you would want to keep the eggs away from the chickens once they're laid. This is an example of an egg that a chicken continued to lay on because, you know, her feet are muddy and whatnot. so it gets all dirty and you have to wash that. And here is a perfectly clean egg that was not continuously sat on after it was laid. Another thing that's super important when you set up your chicken situation is that chickens have got to have shade. When it gets really cold during the wintertime, you see a lot of posts on chicken boards about, oh, do my chickens need a heater? How am I going to keep my chickens warm and whatnot? Chickens do fine in the cold. They really, really do. Where they struggle is in the heat. They can't handle much heat at all. They don't sweat, they need shade, and they need air circulation. So you can see here I've got white tarps on top of my 2 bigger coops. I chose white because it's cooler than a dark color, and it's shaded over every part of the top of the chicken coop, and then there's full airflow from front to back. So they need shade and they need airflow. Have you ever heard the term pecking order? Well, pecking order is a real thing. In each chicken flock, there's an order of dominance, and you have to allow for it when you're taking care of your chickens. You have to make sure that you have enough access to food and water so that if some chicken is being selfish and a jerk and keeping the less dominant chickens from getting to the food and water, that there's another place where the less dominant chickens can get food and water. This also comes into play when you go to introduce new chickens into your flock. You can Google it and figure out ways to introduce new chickens, but pecking order is a thing, and it does look pretty gruesome for a few days. And don't ever introduce a single chicken into a flock. Before you go out and start setting up a chicken yard, though, you need to make sure that you're allowed to have chickens where you live. I have never heard of a homeowners association that allows chickens. If you don't have an HOA, the next place you want to check is your city regulations. So you need to check with your HOA and then also your city. Now, if I could just speak for a moment about how stupid it is that HOAs in cities sometimes don't allow chickens. I used to live in a city where, by the rules, you could have a chicken. But the way they wrote the law, they made it so that it was impossible for anybody actually to have backyard chickens on a lot in the city, because the chicken coop had to be X distance away from every property line, which basically made it to where nobody could have chickens. So do double check all the rules. Now, if it turns out that either your HOA or your city says you can't have chickens, you can decide for yourself if you're going to go ahead and do it anyway. The loudest a chicken ever gets is when they're laying an egg, and that's about the same decibel level as human conversation. So it's about the same as you're hearing me speak to you right now. Now, roosters, they're a whole different deal. Roosters are a nuisance if you live in the city, so don't have a rooster. Oh, and let me dispel something I get asked all the time. You do not need a rooster to get eggs. The chickens will lay an egg every day without a rooster. Now, you need a rooster if you're gonna have baby chicks, but not just if you're gonna have eggs. I hope that was helpful. If it was, I hope you'll hit the like button. I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel. Check out my other videos that I have around here for all sorts of homesteading subjects, and I will see you on the next one.